CCR5 is an acronym for CC chemokine receptor type 5. It is in a category of proteins known as a G protein coupled receptor. What is that? Glad you asked. A G protein is a switch that can be turned on to send signals to inside the cell. When a G protein has GTP, a protein battery, the switch can be turned on. But with GDP, a used up battery, the switch is off. A receptor is a sensor on the surface of a cell that reacts to specific chemicals. A G protein coupled receptor is a great combo where the receptor's reaction to stuff outside the cell activates the switch to send messages inside the cell. CCR5 lies on the surface of the immune cells, and especially on a type known as T cells. T cells are very important to our bodily defense, kind of like messengers signaling the use for weapons of mass destruction. CCR5 is supposed to just regulate the immune system, but CCR5 is also the entry ticket for HIV-1, the main type of HIV accounting for 95% of cases, to invade T cells. How does it do that? Well, HIV exploits another receptor first, called CD4, also on T cells, to change the shape of a specific protein on the HIV surface. This new shape of the protein can trigger CCR5, which, unfortunately, lets another HIV protein create an opening that allows the entire inner core of HIV, with all the stuff needed to create more HIV inside the body, to enter the cell. This process is what inevitably leads to AIDS. CCR5 delta 32 is a mutation in the gene coding for CCR5. Specifically, 32 characters of the DNA sentence that describes how to make CCR5 are deleted. And just like how any sentence is incomprehensible after deleting just a few words, the cell has no clue how to make the proper CCR5, specifically the receptor, because of a terrible manual. But with no receptor, there's nothing for the HIV to trigger, so no HIV can enter. This can lead to partial immunity against HIV infection. The trait is seen most in Europe, where the frequency of having this mutated CCR5 gene is as high as 10%, give or take. But because we inherit one version of the gene from each parent, 10% of the time you'll only have one copy of the mutation, and 1% of the time you have two mutated copies. So, 10% of the time you would have less, but still some CCR5 that the HIV could use to lead to slowed, but not fully prevented disease progression. But 1% of the time, you would be completely immune to 95% of HIV. Well, how do you get this magic immunity? CCR5 delta 32 is a change in your genetic code, not a virus, not a bacteria, so it isn't contagious, just like how a genetic disease wouldn't be. However, biology can still give us hope. Identifying this mutation has led to new treatments for us weaklings to battle HIV. They can involve using small molecules that manually target the CCR5 and eliminate them, while other targets like stem cell therapy can inject patients with really healthy and versatile cells from a person with two of that CCR5 mutation, allowing them to be able to reap the benefits of partially having CCR5 delta 32. Lastly, some recent clinical trials have tested directly altering the CCR5 gene of patients by using technologies like CRISPR or zinc finger nucleases. That is how to not get HIV. Thank you guys for watching. Comment down below what you guys would like to see next. Hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.